Hello everyone, I'm Jacob with Very Good Knife Company. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of sheath adjustment with our Kxdex sheaths. Everybody has a little bit of a different preference when it comes to retention. Some of you might need a little bit more retention. Some of you like a little less retention. That's perfectly fine. So we're going to walk you through the steps of how to get your sheath dialed in just right for your needs. Let's get into it. So before we get started, go ahead and grab yourself a Phillips screwdriver for those Chicago screws and a lighter. A regular lighter, not a torch, not a heat gun, a lighter. That's it. So the reason why I say no to the heat gun is the sheath has already been molded. The heat gun has a tendency to heat everything up. It's hard to pinpoint one small spot, which is what we're going to need to do to adjust our sheaths. So let's start small here. We've got a mosquito sheath, and these hang around your neck, so you want them to be retentive, but not too much, because you don't want to be jerking on that string, wearing your neck out, trying to get your knife out. This one fits just about right. If you find you want a little bit more, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your lighter and you're going to want to adjust this part of the sheath right here. All right. So with the knife in the sheath, we're going to take our lighter. We're just going to very gently, moving, heat this one small section up, very little at a time. Sometimes it takes a little bit to get hot. Just a little at a time. All right, and before you go too far, if you think you haven't moved it, you probably have. Check your retention again. See, now we got that nice little click. Now, if you find that it's a little wiggly in there, which sometimes they will over time, what you can do is remove the knife from the sheath. You can heat up the body. What I like to do is heat up the back side, the side that goes towards your body, so nobody kind of sees that. If you do it right, you usually won't see it. So we're going to heat up right here. We don't want our flame going up into here where we've molded, because that'll demold. We're going to turn it to the side. We're going to take our lighter. We're going to heat that up a little bit. And then we're going to very gently press in and hold. You might have to do this a few times until it gets nice and warm. That's all it'll take. Now you have a little bit more friction resistance. Now friction will help with it not just falling out when you tip it upside down, but that won't help you much with shock. So if you jump off the back of the truck and it shocks downward, it might pop out. That's why you want that little click. Little click. That one's, I'd call it good. Let's go with this one first, or next. Let's go ahead and take our Chicago screws out for our belt loop. Let's remove our belt loop, set it aside. So this taco style sheath right here can be tricky to get just perfect, because if you put too much molding in here, then it won't come in and out smoothly. You'll eventually wear the sheath out faster. So what you want to do when you're molding is to make sure that you got a nice big space right here, and that way your blade doesn't cut your sheath, and the shoulders don't end up wearing it out either. But you can see here that this knife's got a little bit of wiggle to it. Now, the click is really nice, but it might not feel too secure in there. If you want it to tighten up a little bit more, I suggest that you heat up the blade section of the sheath. Again, only on the back side. Right here, we don't want to get up into here. So none of this, because then we're going to end up heating up in here. We don't want to do that. We just want to heat up about a thumbprint size, right in the middle. And this is real simple. Take your lighter, heat it up, not too much, and then we're going to very gently press in. Let's do it again. You're going to very gently press in. If it gets a little hot, it'll go really fast. So you want to go slow. Take it slow. Because what will happen is this thing will get really hot really quick, and then it'll turn into a melted jelly bean. We don't want to do that. And that right there will remove a lot of the wiggle. We can go a little bit more. See, now we have a little bit more friction resistance. Still got the same click, but a little bit more friction resistance. That little side-to-side click right there is not much to worry about, because we know the knife's not coming out. It's got plenty of retention. Now, if your sheath is too tight around your knife, what will end up happening is if you get any kind of debris in there, which you will if you wear it, it's going to be hard to get in and out. What it'll do is it'll eventually wear the sheath out. So that's why when I mold the sheaths, I make sure that there's a ton of space around the edge and around the grind. And that way, it doesn't wear the sheath out faster. It doesn't scratch the knife up as much. So let's say you want a little bit more click. What you're going to want to do is adjust in this area where the choil is for that extra click. So if you're trying to get rid of that little side-to-side movement, the best way to do that is to adjust in here. Take our lighter, we'll go away from the handle, away from the sheath, and we're going to go about from the end of the handle back into the choil real lightly, because you can burn it once you get it warm. Now you don't want to close that center hole off, but you want to press in there, and already made a difference. One heat, we've got a little bit more of an indentation there, and that is starting to reduce that little bit of side-to-side movement. Now it gives it a little bit more of a click. Let's do the other side. That's not quite enough. Still got a little bit of side-to-side play. Again, that's a good thing. Even more of a click. Now, if you find that you really just can't get over that side-to-side play, what I suggest doing is come into the back part here, away from the thumb ramp or push ramp, and go straight up, heat a little bit, and just barely press in. Just a little. Now there's a small indentation there. Now it's almost completely eliminated. Even tighter. So let's say you want a little bit more thumb ramp, all right? That's easy to do. We just need to pull a little bit more of the kydex downward for you to get your thumb on. I'm going to heat up into it. You got to be careful here because the flame reaching the edge right here will end up burning that edge. A little bit of pulled up heat. So we're going to go real slow, and then we're going to pull that thumb ramp out. You can go inside, but very short. And see right there, it deformed. Now we're going to pull a little more out. Just use our finger. That one I'd call good. It has very little wiggle room and really good retention. All right, so let's move on to the two-piece style sheath. This one is all right, but again, it has that same wiggle to it, and it could use a little bit of adjustment back here. Now these, you might not need to take the belt loop off, because again, we don't want to run the lighter up towards the knife, up to the handle. I'm going to flip it upside down and go this way. Remove your knife. On the back side of your sheath where it's flat, I'm going to go right here in the middle, and I'm going to heat this up. And then I'm going to give it a little bit of a press. And you might not even be able to see what you're doing. You might only be able to feel it. But very little goes a long way, I promise. Because if you go too much, you'll know when you go to stick it in there, it'll be super tight. We don't want that. We want it to come in and out, nice and free. But see that right there? That just fixed that little wiggle up. That's it. That's all it took. No burning. You go real slow. Might take you a couple of minutes, but it's real simple to do. And over time, as you wear in your sheath, it might need a little adjustment. Well, there you have it, guys. Hope this helped get your sheath dialed in just right. Of course, if you have any issues, you can contact me directly. I'll be happy to help. As always, thanks for watching. Subscribe for more. Have a good one.